Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing great today. Want to talk about Paul McCartney's new album, The Boys of Dungeon Lane, and spoiler alert, I really love it, and I seem to love it more with each consecutive listen. You know, this album, it really surprised me, not because of how great it is, but because I really think that this is Paul being Paul, expressing himself as an artist, like to please himself because he has something to say, because he's feeling something and he wants to paint that picture, and not so much that he wants to get a hit or to please the fans. Now, obviously, he's worried about all that, but I really feel like this is the artist Paul exploring a territory and subject matter that he really hasn't before. He's giving us something new. And that's also what I think makes it feel so intimate. Like we're really up close and personal to Paul. And also, like, even though some of the songs can be like very emotional and poignant and nostalgic and maybe even melancholy, you know, it's Paul. And it's going to be light and it's going to be upbeat and it's going to be positive at the end. You know, the whole album, it is very cohesive like that. Like it starts out like with the memories, etc., like enjoying all that and being philosophical and going and taking us along the memory lane with him. And then in the middle, he's got like the love songs and he's very much in the present moment and he is where he is right there. And the album ends like, once again, kind of going down memory lane and with new territory and new discoveries with a positive look towards the future. Here, very hopeful at the end of the album. So the album is a wonderful tapestry, something we haven't seen before. And it's Paul being his most beguiling. Like he's romancing us and he's looking us straight in the eye and like saying one thing, but really meaning another. Like he's almost like romancing and flirting with us all throughout this album. It really is something else. And I got to tell you that I went to a listening party I went to a listening party at a record store and they played it on vinyl and they played it loud in this very big space. And even though there are many songs that sound like very 60s, 70s, and 80s and like 90s, it all sounds very contemporary still, especially in that big space. It sounds like right here, like it's right there, like it's saying something right now, and it's very immediate. And also I listened to it in the car. I got the digital album, listened to it in the car, and it passed the driving music test. It's a wonderful album, takes you on an emotional journey that you haven't been before. You see a lot of new things, you feel a lot of new things, and you hear a lot of new things, you know, and we're just the better for it because it's Paul. The album begins with one of my favorite songs, As You Lie There. This is one of the songs that has a split personality. It begins with a sweet Paul remembering like a girl that he used to have a crush on, wondering if she thinks about him at all. And it's kind of like him laying back on the bed, like one, oh, you know, does she think about me? You know, I think about her. Do you think about me the way I think about you? And then it goes into nightmare territory where Paul is like getting all screamy and shouty and like insistent and lusting and almost like taunting her. Come on, like he's almost angry at her and like wanting to just like find out what's going on and he can't just live without her. So he gets a little bit nutty and shouty and indulgent. It goes crazy. And I love it. I absolutely love it because it has a sleazy guitar on there too, almost like Come Together. And then it has that descending piano run. And it goes back into Paul screaming and shouting even louder and louder. And it just gets cut off suddenly. And it goes back into the sweet little charming Paul thinking, oh, you know, I just think that we would have been good together, just me and you. What do you think? Oh my God, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit frightening, but I absolutely love it. And you open up the lyric book, okay? And on this page here, as you lie there, right at the bottom here, it's a little smiley face. It's so nutty. It's so crazy. And that's why I love it. I just love Paul. And you got to play this song loud. Number 2 on the album, Lost Horizon. This song just kind of moves along. I love its vibe. I love how it chugs along. It's like you're riding along in the car with Paul as he goes down memory lane, remembering all the sounds, the sights, and the smells. It's very nostalgic, and he's looking back fondly on the memories in the present moment with a hopeful and positive look to the future. And it's also one of the many songs on this album that talks about riding on a bus. Number 3 is The Days We Left Behind. Now, I already talked about this song, how much I love it, how I think this is Paul at his most artistic and poetic. And even though this song has a lot of emotional weight to it and meaning, it still feels very light and airy. And I refer to it as like a bird of a song, where it's a song that's always been there and Paul just kind of plucks it out of the air. And it just has a wonderful feel to it. You know, when I was listening to this song, driving to the listening party in my car, I said to myself, you know what, this song could actually wind up being a classic song. It has all the earmarks of it, it has all the feels of it. Like after a while, this could be like a classic, just like Let It Be, or maybe I'm Amazed, or silly love songs. At least that's my opinion anyway. There's been a lot of interviews where Paul talks about this album, and in one of those interviews, the interviewer asked Paul, which song do you think that John Lennon might like on your album? And Paul goes, oh, he'd like The Days We Left Behind because it's about him. And it was said with love and humor. And I really think it speaks to the relationship between the two and how Paul really does understand John. Number 4 on the album, Ripples in a Pond. To me, this song sounds like 1980s Paul, and nothing is wrong with that. This is Paul coming to the realization that, wow, I really love my wife. It's a straightforward love song to Nancy, telling her how much he loves her and how wonderful she is and how blessed he feels and how he hopes that their love will go on forever and ever, like ripples in a pond. And sonically, it gets bigger and bigger, and it kind of ripples into the universe. Number 5 is Mountaintop. One of my favorite songs on the album. I really love this vibe. I love its feel. I found myself singing along to it. I found myself dancing along to it. I love what they do to Paul's vocals. Makes him sound very Beatley, very hippie, dippy, trippy. He's there with this girl, like it's on a bus, another song where he mentions a bus, or maybe they're on a carnival ride, or maybe they're on a train and he wants to get all hippie, trippy with this girl. And maybe, they'll see mushrooms in the sky, or maybe they'll see red, blue, and yellow butterflies. But it doesn't matter. It's all about that beat. It's all about the melody and the feel and me singing and dancing to it. It's all about the trip, baby. And then the song does something. It speeds up at the end, just like one of Paul's other songs, like Hi, Hi, Hi. It speeds up and it builds momentum, and then it just disembarks. And you even get this announcer at the very end, just like that train announcer, someone announcing, get off here, like stay together. I don't know what they say, but that's what it sounds like to me. Number 6 is Down South, the George song. Now let me ask you something. Do you remember watching Beatles Anthology, and we're seeing Paul and George with their acoustics, and they're working on Real Love, Free as a Bird, and Now and Then together? Seems like they're really tuned in with one another. It's like they're locked in, those two with their guitars. Or maybe they are out front of Friar Park with their ukuleles, and they're just having fun being kids, and they're just enjoying each other's company, singing and playing the ukuleles together. Or maybe they're at Paul's studio, and George is sitting on the bench playing his guitar, and Paul is there with his cup of coffee or cup of tea, and they're sharing a laugh. Or maybe they're jamming, at Friar Park with Ringo. And George breaks into the intro to Thinking of Linking. And Paul starts cracking up and they play Thinking of Linking. It's like that shared history. They share that with each other. It's a vibe. It's a feeling. They lock in. It's like, remember this. Like, remember when we were kids. Paul really is locked into that moment, that time, those memories of trying to find out those chords, trying to learn the guitar. They were all about the guitars and the hitchhiking back then and those memories. This is where Paul is with George still, in that time, in that moment, in that place, in those memories. So when I heard this song, I said, this sounds like Paul just making it up right then. And it's like Paul is there, maybe on the edge of the bed or maybe on a chair next to George or something. George is there. Maybe they're George is playing his guitar. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just listening to Paul playing the guitar. Paul's just making up this song straight to George. And George is probably smiling like, what are you doing, Paul? What are you doing singing me this song? It's like, because that's what it feels like to me. It feels like an intimate moment. Paul is singing to George in that moment. It's intimate and it's just off the cuff. It's like a love song to George in that moment. It's not some kind of massive hit or anything, But that's what it made me think of. And it also feels a little unfinished to me. Maybe someday Paul will finish that song to George. Number 7 is We Two. I like this straightforward love song, just kind of meanders down the road. I like Paul's beatly vocalizations on it. You've also got some backward tape loops on here. And it also plays the song backwards really fast at the end. Very beatly. Number 8, Come Inside, another fave of mine on this album. I love its groove. I love its vibe. I love Paul's vocals on it. And I also love the fact that this is another one of those songs where it has a bit of a split personality to it. In the beginning, Paul is sort of lamenting the fact that his life has been an open book, like come inside, and he's inviting everybody to come on inside, almost like he's a carnival ride. Everybody come in, take a look, my life's an open book. But then the second half of the song is he's celebrating the fact that he's an open book, like come on inside. And like take a look, and encouraging everybody else to be that open book, and everybody else would be happy, just like him. Number 9, Never Know. Now, I really didn't like this song in the very beginning. I go, okay, what the heck is this? But after I listened to it again and again, it did that Paul thing where you wind up loving it so much, and I just can't get enough of it sometimes, because of the oh, my mind is black and blue. See, I don't know what to tell you. And it really doesn't matter that it's about, oh my God, this, love is a pain in the butt, but I'm just going to do it anyway. I think it's got a sense of humor, this song. I mean, this is what's so beguiling about Paul. You wind up, I don't like this song, but you know what? I kind of love this song. Number 10, Home to Us, the Paul and Ringo duet. I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that. This is Paul and Ringo having that conversation about the old days, finishing each other's sentences. And I love the fact that Paul decided, you know what this song needs? This song needs more Ringo. and it made it all that much better. I mean, you can't get much more Beatley these days than Paul and Ringo duetting, Ringo on the drums and Paul on bass with all these Beatley sounds on it. I love it so much. I really do. And in one of the recent interviews, Paul answers a question about the song Home to Us. Seems like somebody, I think one of the fans couldn't tell the difference between Paul and Ringo's vocals. And Paul goes, okay, like I'm first and then Ringo sings. So Paul in his head is going, okay, they can't tell my vocals from Ringo's vocals. It's like, Number 11, Life Can Be Hard. When I first heard this song, it made me think of another song. I think it's a song from the late 60s or the early 70s. I can't quite put my finger on. I can't quite remember which song this Life Can Be Hard reminds me of. But it does have that nostalgic feel to it. It's like remembering a better time, a better place, mentions a dream, and he's dancing with this dream girl, like, better days and waltzing with her. It does have like a romantic, nostalgic vibe to it, like thinking of like, better days, a better time. Number 12 on the album, First Star of the Night. This song has a beautiful melody. It feels like evening breezes in trees and Paul whispering to me that everything is going to be all right. It has a romantic flavor to it, but it goes deeper than that. It's like Paul telling me, like I said, like everything is going to be okay, and hope for that future, and paying homage to that evening star. Number 13, Salesman Saint. Paul sitting us down and telling a story about his mom and dad, how hard they worked, everything that they did to care for him and his brother, to make their life easier. While their life was more difficult, they went without. The song feels like it's a moment in time, like a way back time. And he's got them still in that one place in his mind, how things were difficult, things were tough. And the song almost feels like it's leaving them there in that place and life is moving on. It's actually a very poignant and very heartfelt song. Number 14, Mama Gets By. Paul's love song to his mama. When we get older, we really begin to see what our folks really were. Like that they were people, they had problems, they had issues, and we can relate better to them. And hopefully, if it's not too late, tell them that we love them and that we understand. And a lot of times we see ourselves in our mom and dad. And I think this is Paul looking at his mother and father and saying, I see myself in my mother and I see myself in my father. And I see that my mama, like, she loved my father, even though he could be a banana brain sometimes, she loved him. And that was more important than anything else. It's like the love. Okay. And he probably says, okay, I could be a banana brain too. And I see that and I understand that. And it's a hurt that you feel for your mother that you can't fix. But you know what? It's what mamas do. Mamas are willing to do whatever because of love. And that's what Paul's singing about. Paul's love song to his mother. This whole album is a beautiful emotional tapestry that Paul has gifted us. And I know I used the word masterpiece before it came out, to describe it. I would go, okay, it's going to be a masterpiece. But when I think about it, I go, I don't like that label for this album. I don't, because masterpiece feels kind of cold, okay? And it's like a label. And it's like putting it in a box, okay? And I don't really think that you can label this or put this album in a box because it has so much life and so much warmth and so much beauty and so much expression, and it's all over, so much fun and joy and, melancholy and even some lustiness, some Randy Paul in there and trippiness. I mean, how do you label that? I don't really think you can. It just is what it is, and just like Paul is who he is, and we should just be grateful that we have him here. And sometimes I sit and I think, who the heck am I to be talking about Paul and any of these guys, actually, when all I really should be doing, and actually that is what I'm doing, is saying, I love you, Paul. I love you, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. And you know what? I love you guys too. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. And until next time, peace and love one another. Take care. Little girl, you're tripping. Everybody's flipping out. Need to get a grip and slip away. Or do you want to stay?